My name is Gracie Smith, and I'm the president of the class of 2018. If you would all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Welcome, School Board Chair Nicole Whalen, School Board Member Todd Wilkins, Superintendent Basic, Principal Stewart, Guest Speaker Chris Howe, teachers, family, friends, and fellow graduates. We are fortunate to have with us today Chris Howe, a former Petty Officer First Class U.S. Navy SEAL. Although it would be more proper to call him Mr. Howe, many of us at AMHS have had the privilege to get to know Chris through his leadership programs for our student athletes and student leaders. Chris has an impressive military resume, including training in underwater demolition, special operation combat, and naval special warfare. He was a member of SEAL Team 5 Alpha Platoon, as well as a range safety officer and diving supervisor. Chris completed 2 overseas combat deployments in 2008 and 2010 to Fallujah and Baghdad, Iraq, where he served as the senior medic for his task unit. Chris took part in 66 direct action combat missions and received multiple awards for bravery while under fire, including the Joint Services Achievement Medal and Navy Commendation Medal, both with Valor. After leaving the SEAL team in 2012, Chris worked as a private security contractor in Baghdad, Iraq, and later as an international security and medical evacuation specialist. Today, Chris works with the Program Athletics organization, coaching professional and college athletes on leadership and team development skills. He lives in Vermont with his wife and 3 children. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Chris Howe.
Good afternoon, friends, families, teachers, guests, and graduates. It is my absolute honor to be here with you today as these young men and women graduate and move to the next phase in lives. Let's take a minute to first appreciate where we are. We are truly fortunate to live in such a beautiful place in such an incredible country. Please, take a minute, take a look to your left, take a look to your right. Take a look in front of and behind you. I know it's kind of awkward. Oh, they're looking at me. I'm not quite sure who that is. Appreciate the people that are around you. Appreciate where we are. These are the people that have been there to pick you up, push you forward. They've been a shoulder to cry on, and they've been the warm embrace of comfort. Together, these individuals combine to form a team, a tribe, a family that has supported each and every one of these graduates. That's what we need to remember. No one person is solely defined by another individual or interaction, but instead they are formed by accumulation of interactions and experiences. As you move into the next phase of your lives, graduates, remember these people, remember these experiences, and do not disappoint them. But more importantly, do not disappoint yourself. Now, you're graduating, look over here so I can see your eyes for a second. This is kind of awkward, right? Listen, let's first acknowledge the fact that you're probably not going to remember who gave your high school graduation commencement address. And you sure aren't going to remember anything that I have to say. I know this because I don't. Plain and simple. I was in your seats 14 years ago. Here's what I want you to remember about what I have to say. If you take nothing else away from this, remember this. You are going to fail. You're going to fail. You're going to fail often, and sometimes massively. And that's okay. It's okay. Failure does not determine who you are. Failures can either define you or they can develop you. It's not a matter if you're going to fail, it's a matter of how you will respond when you fail. At the end of the day, you only control 3 things in our lives. And I know you've heard Mr. Stewart talk about attitude and effort. I'd like to throw a third in. Only 3. Our attitudes, our efforts, and our responses. That's it. That's it. Our attitude, our effort, and our response. From the minute we wake up until the minute we go back to sleep, from the second we are born until the day that we die, each of us only truly controls our attitude, our effort, and our response. Now, please allow me to just take a minute and tell you a quick story. For those of you that don't know me, I grew up in a small town in southern New Hampshire, in a log cabin on 72 acres, a half-mile dirt driveway. My parents, younger brother, and I all slept in the same bedroom until I was in 5th grade. Definitely tight living arrangements. At which point, I moved out into the small camper that my parents so nicely bought in the front yard. Our town was so small that we didn't even have our own high school, and I had to commute to a neighboring town every day for 4 years. My senior class had just over 80 graduates, which I know is like, what, 4 times the size of your class? Okay. So we had just over 80 graduates, and like I said previously, I was exactly where you are 14 years ago. Time flies. After graduation, I enlisted directly in the Navy with dreams to become a U.S. Navy SEAL. At this point, I wasn't completely sure what I wanted to do with my life, but I knew that I wanted to get out of this small town and get out and see what the world had to offer. I also figured if I was going to join the military, I might as well attempt to consider, what most people think is the most challenging military training that there is. So I came to this conclusion here's the true story, as I was flipping through a college catalog in my guidance counselor's office, skipping class, I did it too, and I saw a picture of some SEALs on a small Zodiac boat with their faces painted in green camouflage paint and they're armed to the teeth. And I thought to myself, hey, that looks cool. That looks like fun. That's why I ended up subjecting myself to extreme pain, suffering, and misery. That's why at 19 years old, I ended up being one of the original 12 candidates to graduate from the original 248 that started my BUDS training. That's why I ended up subjecting myself to weekly 4-mile soft sand beach runs in boots and long pants, to weekly 2-mile ocean swims, and to daily some of the most diabolical physical training devised by man. That's why I ended up attending and graduating from the U.S. military's premier combat medic course and the United States Navy SEAL Sniper School. That's also how I ended up being in Fallujah and Baghdad, getting mortared, blown up, and shot at. All of that because I was skipping class and I thought some guys in a magazine looked cool. I knew, however, that when I graduated from high school, I wanted to pursue something truly great, and that I wasn't really ready for college yet. Becoming a Navy SEAL taught me a number of valuable life lessons. It taught me the value of paying attention to detail, the need to do the little things right, and at the end of the day, there are only 2 ways to really do things: the right way, and again. As I said previously, no one person is solely defined by another individual or interaction, but instead by accumulation of interactions and experiences. For me, being a Navy SEAL is only one of these experiences. Becoming a dad taught me the need for patience and reinforced the importance of prioritizing other people's needs before my own. Working with hundreds of athletic teams and thousands of student athletes has taught me there's no one way to pursue greatness. Moving back from Southern California to a small New England town reinforced the importance of community and the benefit of a smaller, more intimate educational environment. Living in Vermont reaffirmed my love for nature and the desire to share that love with my family. And now starting a new career has reminded me of the need to continue to push boundaries and look for opportunities to get uncomfortable. It's that last point that I remain most intrigued with, the need to push outside of one's comfort zone in order to truly grow. In reality, however, most of us are hesitant to do things that make us uncomfortable. Why? Why is that? I believe we are not biologically opposed to change, but instead, we resist to try new things because of the possibility that they'll make us uncomfortable. We're not resistant to change, we like comfort. And oftentimes, the way that things have always been done is more comfortable. The biggest reason, however, that we as individuals are resistant to get out of our comfort zones is due to the fear of failure. We don't want to fail in general, but especially not in front of our friends, our family, or even strangers for that matter, because of the perception that failing at something means that you are a failure. Failing at something, failing at anything doesn't make you a failure, but accepting that your failures determine who you are will in fact be confirmation of that. So, going forward, here's what I urge you to do. Do incredible things, push boundaries, make mistakes, make your own path, but don't wait. Your perception of life will be that time is only speeding up. Find your purpose and pursue it with all that you're worth. Strive for greatness, strive for incredible things, and believe, believe, believe. Congratulations, it is an honor and a privilege to be here. Good luck in your future.
Hello, everybody. Just gonna get situated. When I first found out that I would have to give a speech in front of you all today, I have to admit I wasn't very excited about the idea. It's not the public speaking aspect that I was worried about. I just didn't know how I, a 17-year-old student with a pretty moderate case of senioritis, was supposed to provide some words of wisdom or inspiration to the rest of my class. If I'm being completely honest, I couldn't even BS my way through a sappy graduation speech, and I'm pretty good at BSing. So I'm not going to bore you by repeating some empty quote or making my 17 years of life out to be some dramatic adventure. Here's what I could come up with. 10 months ago, we entered senior year knowing exactly what would be asked of us. First, we would have to decide where we wanted to apply to school or work. Next, we would have to write our college essays and apply. Once we heard back from the schools or jobs we applied to, we'd make our decision and finish off the year applying for scholarships and getting ready for the next steps. It was going to be great. Turns out, after years and years of living in Arlington and having our whole lives mapped out for us, making such monumental and life-changing decisions was really, really hard. Think about it. Most of us started at Fisher Elementary, knowing that after 5th grade, we attend our highly anticipated moving up ceremony and begin school up on the hill. Even if this wasn't the case, and your life map had different routes, all of our parents took care of everything for us. And this predetermined fate didn't just apply to school. If you played basketball in middle school, you knew that your next step was JV, then ultimately varsity. All of our goals that we reached for were goals that we were told we should try to achieve. Maybe not explicitly, but they were implied. Good grades, good attendance, study hard, play hard. And even when we did have to make decisions, it was always choose A or B, say yes or no, is this true or false? Now all of a sudden, we have to map out our own path. And do you know what the worst part about all this decision making is? The adults. Adults love to tell us what to do. They all think that their words of wisdom are the wisest and that they have their own little pieces of advice that only they could give us. But the one thing that has been absolutely 100% true that I have heard from just about every adult is that high school is going to be over before I know it. And it is. When I was a freshman and adults would say that to me, I honestly thought that they were just grasping at their youth. But I now know that adolescence is so short that there's hardly enough there to grasp. Looking back on my 13 years of school, each year has flown faster than the last. Senior year especially. I could recount the day of our soccer state championship like it was yesterday. As a matter of fact, I could probably tell you all about a random day in 3rd grade like it was yesterday. On June 5th, 2009, we watched our newly hatched ducklings swim for the first time in a kiddie pool outside of our classroom door. I can remember all this because although school may only be a fraction of our lives, for the 26 of us, it has been most of our lives. I have walked into school with more than half of my current classmates for 13 years. All my memories, all my stories, they take place in 2 buildings, just across the street from each other. We all know that this year has been a hard year at AMHS, hence the tent. But I hope that every single one of you are thankful that part of your life is connected to Arlington. I know that some of my classmates can't wait to get the heck out of here, and some of you will never leave. But I hope that all of us will look back on our experiences here with fondness. Whether it was your family, friends, teachers, coaches, or any adult offering you their words of wisdom, who up until now helped you draft your map, we all found a home here. This small community has poured all they have into the 26 of us, and who we are today is a product of their efforts. And I guess their wisdom too. There are not many towns where you can not only know almost everyone, you can know them really well. This community is filled with caring people who want the best for us and care about our achievements. Our varsity girls soccer season this year solidified this idea for me. Our coach shared with our team numerous letters from Arlington alumni wishing us good luck. We didn't directly know some of these people, but they still took the time to reach out to us and get involved. This southwest corner of Vermont will always be a star on my map. And even if I don't find myself here when I'm raising a family, I'll always remember the ideals. I wish all of my classmates the best of luck, and I can't wait to see you at our 50th reunion to hear your words of wisdom. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Tradition dictates that any proper graduation speech should offer advice or an inspirational quote for us to carry into the future. Some people start off by saying, "Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened." Or advise others to be the change you wish to see in the world. Oh, and we can't forget the classic, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." Though they may hold some meaning, these cliches often ring hollow because of their cheesiness. They don't hold any real sentiment. The advice that means the most to us comes in little phrases gifted to us from our experiences and from someone we trust and look up to, someone who believes in what they are saying. For me, this piece of advice is Linneo. Losing is not an option. I first heard Mr. Warner offer this piece of advice in his own speech at our 2016 graduation. His speech brought the slogan of Linneo into the town of Arlington, where it would resonate and inspire, guiding Mr. Warner and many others since. Mr. Warner's words also guided many of us through this final year of high school. We all looked forward to having the best year of high school yet. Our girls' varsity soccer team had the best season of our high school career. We were state champions, and we had a perfect 18-0 season, something that hasn't been done in 25 years. We demonstrated that losing really wasn't an option, and we saw the power of Mr. Warner's words. Those words not only brought us success in the field, but success as we all attempted to finish our senior year strong. Applying to colleges or finding employment, and fighting many bouts of senioritis. Those words did not ensure victory in all cases, but they served as our motivation in all cases. When we lost our gym this year, at first we all struggled with the change. Traveling daily to other gyms, having extra 6 a.m. practices, and never being able to play another home game this season. We struggled to find the motivation to keep playing. After Mr. Warner's passing, we let his words inspire us during our quarterfinal game. We took the court with Linneo written on our sleeve, and we made sure we wouldn't have our last game that night. We held on to Linneo, and as a result, we made it to the semifinal games in the Barry Auditorium, both the girls and boys varsity basketball teams. In our final stretch through taking our exams and parking way out back because of the gym construction, Mr. Werner's words were always there to inspire us not to give up. So, if any advice should be taken with us from high school into the real world, it is Linneo. Of course, as I learned this year, and Mr. Werner would have agreed, Linneo only works when you have a great team behind you. So I want to thank my team of classmates and friends for 13 years of laughter and memories. My team of teachers for putting up with me in my class and teaching me lessons in the classroom and in life. My team of coaches for never ever giving up on us and making us both better players and people. My soccer, basketball, and track teammates for pushing me to work harder while also making every minute fun. And finally, my family for being supportive of everything I do and giving me the tools I need for success. To my fellow graduates, some of the best teammates, don't forget to thank your team today. Even though we are moving on from AMHS, we will always keep our teams and Mr. Werner's inspiring words in our hearts.
McLean Sherwood Barlow. Catherine May Berger. Parker Larson Blomberg. Davide Rodashia. Damian Burdick. Haley Marie Carangio. Rebecca Heather Roth.
This is embarrassing.
Okay.
Bailey Frederick Francis Cross. Richard Allen Davis III. Amy Elizabeth Frank. Jeffrey Gamble. Amelia Catherine Jang. Zandria Jessie May Hoyt. Jamie Nicole Keel. Keyshawn Kane. Michaela Marie Madison. Austin J. McCaffrey. Chloe Moran. Brian L. Morse. Erin Nicole Murphy. Lane Joseph Nolan. Sophie Jeanette Pidemonte. Tanner Elizabeth Robinson. Sinclair Snow. Kaylee Elizabeth Ward.
Grace Walker Smith.
By the power vested in me by the Board of Directors of the Arlington School District, I certify that these students of the class of 2018 have met all the graduation requirements set forth by the state of Vermont and the Arlington Board of Education. Congratulations to the class of 2018.